Hey guys, Bolt here, and welcome to this is kind of like a video essay, but it's also mostly a tutorial going over Dokkan Battle. Um, so basically, I've been doing stuff on SV Studios um, that is similar to this, but it's more on other content. Um, like the last 3 Fridays have been these video essays over on SP Studios. We did the Walton Files, we did the Mandela Catalog, kind of catching up on what happened, kind of making things in chronological order and explaining them, as long as like having video uh, um, visual aids. But yesterday, I think, is the biggest one that has come out to this point. Um, let me go look back at it. As of me making this video, it is at almost 160 views in a matter of not 24 hours, like 22 hours, um, which is very good. For a video, and it's got 8 likes, and it goes over the Pumpkin Rabbit uh, stuff. Tales of the Pumpkin Rabbit that recently released on VHS. I wanted to make sure everyone got a chance to go over it without looking at stuff that's technically illegal. Anyways, let's get into this. So, one thing that I didn't include in this giant script, um, just kind of looking real quick. Go ahead and take this off. This is what, an 8-page script? Yeah. Well, it's a 7-page script with a little bit of extra. And then I also I did this. It's like a 30-minute video. Yeah. Got a 30-minute visual aid on my mobile stuff, um, to kind of make this video at least a little bit better. And then I also pulled up the Dokkan wiki to kind of give animation visuals, and also I'll put them in the description in case people want to use that, because that helps with team building. It also gives a little bit better of understanding on certain things that the actual game itself won't help with. But anyways, moving on to the actual stuff. Alright, so I did make this video as the official retirement video from Dokkan Battle. Because after the 10 years, I dropped spending money on the game, making it easy to kind of see that the game is a little boring as a free to play player. It's not very free to play friendly. Um, I also made this off the idea of the Dokkan creator, Truth DT, whose life is Dokkan. He makes like 5 videos a day of Dokkan content, no matter what little thing releases, or some ideas he might have, like Twitter posts and challenge videos with certain teams that might be lackluster. But he made a video series known as the Beginner's Guide, which I think they just released another part. Um, it features Iron Cane. I will link both of those creators in the description. Not putting down their series, of course, but it is more than 24 hours. So my job here is to summarize the game, and any in-depth info I would check with Truth. And then there's also a Toon Rami I will also link. He's been so Truth covers what is known as the JP, the Japanese version, while Toon covers the international version, which is known as Global. JP is mostly ahead of Global, while Global has better translations to follow. So originally the game was released only in Japanese, and then 6 months later, Global released here in the Americas and a few other places. But there was a 6 month difference that we just recently caught up and started having things similar. But there are two sides of the gameplay where one person will play in the Japanese version where it's all Japanese. They do kind of have a quick head start on a lot of content, and they cover everything even before it comes in game. While Toon, he does have that like anything that if it gets uploaded and gets announced, he covers it. Um, but he kind of waits for global translations on certain things. Like if it's big and major, he'll cover it. But most things until there's actually a way to speak English, he will cover it better. So moving on to a disclaimer, this is a Dragon Ball Z centered game. If you don't like this series, you won't find much enjoyment here. The game is Dragon Ball Z, so the Saiyan Buu and the Saiyan Saga to the Buu Saga, plus the movies will be covered for the most of the content. Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball Daima, and the OG original Dragon Ball will be covered, but not as often as the Z arcs. The game itself is, well, more of a Bejeweled or Candy Crush collecting, with colored orbs, with some tactics. The biggest thing in this game is known as the Gotcha game system, which is a game that is centers around microtransactions for a lottery system, for things like items or characters that are needed for newer content. Alright, now, starting the game, upon opening the game, you will have to do a data download. Basically, so you install your game, you put it in, you open it, and it starts with a start screen. You'll touch it, and then it'll be like, hey, we need to update the content, download all this stuff onto your device. It might take a while, but that's where most of the content, most of the characters come from. These will be happening almost every week. That way the game gets updated very frequently, and new content and new characters will come out. It will then throw new players into a tutorial, which covers the basics, and it is fully available to all content you need to finish the panel missions. And let me go ahead and move over to the main. So these are the panel missions that are covered. A thing that we'll be moving on to is knowing your units. Let's go over, wait for my past self to catch up here a little bit. So going into the units, there is orange or physical, which is, these are the color types. In Dragon Ball Legends, there's red, yellow, blue. You can go by colors, but they're technically PHY means physical. Oh, come on. Purple is intelligence. Tech is technique. Green. Blue is agility, and STR is strength. Red. Also, there is a color weakness. So just like Dragon Ball Legends, colors are more effective against other colors. So let it go ahead and play. So physical is strong against, oh come on, it's strong against intelligence, and intelligence is strong against, oh come on, tech, and tech is stronger against AGL, and AGL is strong against STR, and STR is strong against physical. All right. I will also say this gives a 2% increase on attack, a 2% chance of a critical, and it does give what is known as guard, which is a 15% defense increase against attacks of a color weakness. We also go into the super type. The super and extreme type. So, let's go ahead and super, which is also right above what the typing is. Super usually means the hero units, while extreme is your villain units. Okay, moving on to rarities. Just like in any other gacha games, there are rarities among characters. So here's the rarity right above the typing. N is for normal. R is for rare. SR is for super rare. SSR is for super rare. UR is for ultra rare. And LR is for legendary rare. Going into awakening. Awakening is kind of how you go using medals that you earn through the game. You can turn your units into higher rarities, making them stronger. Z awakening is from turning N to super rare, so from normal to super rares, and to higher rarities. So turning a normal to a rare to a super rare, and then a super rare to a ultra rare. And then there are Dokkan awakenings, which I think are about to show you here. Right here so this is Z awakening from super rare to ultra rare, but Dokkan awakening into what is known as a transcended ultra rare, and then some can go into LRs. Going into stats, after my old self catches up. Right. So, going into it, we got the ATK, which is attack. This is the power behind your unit. DEF, which is defense. This is to take the damage of an enemy dishing out. Subtract the number that they were. So take their attack, subtract this number, and that's how much they're attacking you for. HP. This is health. This is the amount damage you can take. This number is the total of the whole team. So add this and the rest of the units on a 6-person team, and you get the total amount of HP you will get as a whole. Moving on to level, you can gain levels through XP. This is through battles or using equipment through training. Cost. It is an older game concept that during certain levels you can only run a team with a cost lower than a set number. The leader skill right here, and then I also kind of show off. Come on. I was kind of recording a lot of this when... Okay, here we go. So, leader skill, I just showed you. This is the categories. These are the links. So the leader skill right here, let's see. These are, so the leader skill, the categories and the links are things that you look at when making teams. Leader skills, they boost the stats given if they are the team lead. More recently, they give 170 to 220% to health, defense, HP, and they give some key, which is kind of how you gain enough to attack. gain a certain amount to attack. We'll get there in a little bit. As long as the units are on the team, they fit the categories, the typings that are mentioned here. They get the stats. And then the categories are normally the species like humans, Saiyans, Super Saiyan, Namekians, that kind of stuff. Um, Any Lord. Okay, come on. So yeah, you can see Pure Saiyans, Fused Fighters, Goku's family. That's what this kind of gives out for categories. Links. Um, these are things that this character in particular has been all through. So like, it's a Super Saiyan. He does a Kamehameha. This is during the Boo fight, so it's a fierce battle. Um, and then we go into links. Well, that's the links. Then we go into the passive skill. Um, this is one, if not the most important part of a unit. This gives them and the team higher stats and abilities like guard, which works like similar to the color weakness guard when defending. Um, Dodge, just avoiding damage altogether. Um, it's one of the most broken parts of the game. And then you can see it on this unit. Damage reduction, which is currently one of the most important. It's reduces the attack of an enemy by a percentage. So here's 20% damage reduction. So if a enemy is attacking for 100,000, subtract 20%, it's now only 80,000 that it's attacking for. Moving on to super attacks. This is what key is for. So, since this is an LR, there's 2 of them. Most units only have 12, though. So, you need 12 key. So, if you're having a leader skill, most times they give you 2 or 3 extra key for all your units that are underneath the category or typing. So, at least it means all you need to do is collect 9 or when it comes to key, if it's the same color that the typing of the unit is, it gives you 2 per orb. So you can either collect. So if you get 3 from a leader skill, that means you only need 9 key. So that means you either need to collect 9 spears altogether, or you need to collect at least about 4 of the color of the unit, and then 18 is needed for ultra super attack, which is kind of like the ultimate attack. They normally are a high powered attack that has its own stat boosting. Like this greatly raises defense for 1 turn, and also it has effects that do things like stunning opponents. Is also a nice thing that it can do. Currently, you do going back to the passive skill. For a unit to be good in any kind of scenario, it needs 2 out of 3 of the ability trio, as it were, which is guard, dodge, and or damage reduction. For example, this one has a lot of defense and stuff. It has a lot of damage reduction, but the defense kind of makes up for the missing pieces. But if a unit can dodge, that means it has a chance of just not taking any damage. Guard kind of helps it with defense if it doesn't have any numbers. And then damage reduction is just, you're taking away a great amount of the attack. Moving on to extra abilities. So, abilities are locked behind conditions, usually during turn passing or HP percentage, usually with big boost in stats. Starting with transformation, it is basically your Super Saiyans and all those other forms. For example, this was the original the first person to have transformation. This was for the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Alright, and using Dokkan Wiki to show you, this is the transformation right here. So instead of it being a Super Saiyan Gogeta, it turns into Gogeta Blue. Alright, returning to this stuff, we move on to the exchange, which is the change of a character. For this one, it goes from Vegeta to Goku. Oh, come on. Okay, so yeah, I showed you there. This is the art for Gogeta Blue once it transforms. And then this one goes from Vegeta, and then when he dies, he becomes Goku. There's other conditions for this ability to be available. But moving real quick over to the Dokkan Wiki again. Alright, so this is... Oh. I wish this had some speaking. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, due to Dokkan Wiki not having any sound, I'll switch over to Dokkan World. He's a YouTube channel who shows off animations for the units. So let's go ahead and just...
I beg you, he must die by Saiyan hands.
I hated you at first, but I began to understand over time. You were a proud Saiyan warrior. Just know this, I'll do what I can to carry on that pride of yours.
Okay, so back to my stuff. Moving on to an outfit change. This is, well, what it sounds like. So going from the normal gis that Krillin and Gohan have from Namek, they go into their Space Trooper outfits. Moving on real quick back to Dokkan World for an animation.
Whoa, this is crazy! Super lightweight. It feels like I'm not wearing anything at all.
These shoulder pads don't really get in the way. We have all sorts of room to move.
Alright. Alright. There's also scenes that give the unit higher stats for a turn, like this Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta here. Real quick, pop over there. Oh, this is the...
More of a fight. Honestly, you're a real letdown, you know that? Honestly, I thought you'd put up more of a fight.
All right, so moving on to let's see. So with that, then there are these standby. No. So there are intros, animations that play upon the first appearance of a unit, given more abilities for certain amount of turns. Let's go ahead and show that.
Sorry for the wait, Kakarot. Ready when you are, Vegeta.
Then there's also standby, which is similar to inactive, but instead of quick animation, it puts the unit in a new state, like building an attack. Let's go ahead and show off that.
Give me the power to put this guy down for the count! More power! Right now! Give me the power to defeat this guy! Fine, just take it! But finish that guy now! We won this together! Everyone, lend me all of your Super Saiyan power! I'll never lose if I'm a Super Saiyan 4 at full power!
Hurry up and give your tea over to Goku!
It's about time we both got serious and had a battle to end all battles. The ultimate final battle.
All right. There's also domains, which are a visual environment of the field that affect your team and the enemy. There's also two enemies that are known as territories, which are very similar in this way. And then the very last one is Revive. It's simply when taking enough damage for a game over, it gives a player a second chance, normally with some health.
This fight's not over yet. Vegeta at 17. And all the others gave everything they had so I could keep going. If I quit now, I'll betray that trust. And I refuse to let all of them down.
Alright, now that we know our units and the abilities and everything, it's time to take a little tour of the game, starting with the front page here. The very bottom, this scrolling little box, is the ad box. These keep you informed on current events. Moving on to the news tab, which is this left box right here. The first thing is the campaign. These show summaries on the current content, like new units, which I'm about to show. The very current Mercenary Tau Dokkan Fest that is currently going on. Moving on to the events, shows the newest levels and stages and difficult content that recently did. And then other is generally just patch notes from the devs. Moving on to the menu, friends. Here you can see see and search your friends. Also accept request. Moving on to account linking. If you want to recover your account later, it's best to link it and make sure it's either to a Google or Facebook. There's also Bandai Namco ID linking, which it does have a reward if I remember correctly. There's also a current thing they just released on the Bandai Namco store to make things like stones cheaper. Options. Adjust your volume, animation speed, brightness, color enhancement, power saving mode can be turned on here. Also, you can skip animations in battle. This allows you to see an animation every day, once, every time, or never. Moving on to language and voice settings. Basically, it's just telling what voices you're going to hear and what language you're going to read. And then wallpapers can be... wallpapers, you can be awarded some by beating certain levels or doing certain things during celebrations. This daily capsule thing, I didn't touch upon it in my script. But it's kind of like a purchased thing where if you buy it, it gives you dragon stones, which I'm going to get here in a second, which are like the premium currency anyways. And it's kind of like in Dragon Ball Legends, there's a robot that through every day login you get a few stones, or CC or whatever they're called in there. Moving on to the help. For a better explanation, contacting for problems, copyright info, or account deletion. Moving on to profile real quick. Come on. This is the top part. Here you can set titles that you've earned through certain events. The very top there. Kind of showing off some titles. Then you go into changing your name. Picking your favorite character for a profile pic. Choosing a unit for friends to use. And then power leveling. Power leveling shows a player's dedication to the game. You can grow your power level through... Go ahead and exit out of here. Past cam. Come on. You can get through unlocking potential, beating a stage for the first time, links that are level 10, and Dokkan Awakening. I'll actually go back to it. Going on to the monthly growth leveling. This is a newer system that rewards the players for logging in, consuming stamina, completing daily missions. As you level up, pixel art for scenes right here through the series are shown. By the end of the month, you gain rewards for the levels you have used. Moving on to the sub page. Here you can see how many times you used a unit and the amount of stages cleared. Now moving on to the music. By tapping the music note, you can see a music collection, which you can purchase through burst coins gained through a scoring in the burst mode gameplay. Real quick, exiting to the gifts option. Here you can collect rewards and login bonuses that you've received. Moving on to missions. Come on. We have the dailies. These are things you can do every day, giving reason to play every day. Normal are the easiest to do with basic rewards. Events. This is where ones that you will focus on, including newer content and challenges. There is the trials, which are an older part of the game. Um, that links of the game story into quest mode. Portal of Memories is a section that has events and stages that are returned since the first appearance. However, instead of using stamina, they use keys given through rewards and login. Panel missions, these are missions given to free-to-play players. Amazing rewards, these show up for monthly events and like celebrations. And are a part of the introduction with the first starting the game. They do give you a team through the panel missions in the tutorial, which I'm about to show you the team here. Yeah, this is a Saiyan Saga team that is led by an LR Goku that can be easy-aged through the panel missions in the beginning of the game. There's a Yamcha, Tien, Chatsu, Krillin, Piccolo, and Gohan. Moving on to Giru's Guide. This is to help players find and grow their units. Free-to-play measures only here. No purchases required for any of this help. Player display is the... I'll really make this easier because I just tapped it thinking I wasn't going to explain it. So the top here is the rank, which is the player's level. XP, which is experience points needed for the next level. STA is the stamina, and is the energy needed to play some stages and events. Basically, if you want to do anything, you need to spend this. Zinni is the base currency needed for, training your units, buying certain things. Dragon stones are the premium currency, can be used as on parts of the game, including refilling your stamina, but is mostly used on banners in summoning for newer units. The timer over here is 4 stamina. Every time it runs out, it will give you more stamina. I think it's 1 per few minutes. Moving on to gameplay modes. Moving on to Dragon Ball Story. Dragon Ball Story and Quest are the basic modes for gaining early units and other basic needs. Story mode goes through the series, while Quest is the game's story. So this is the game Dokkan's original story right here. They do give you this unit right here that's based on Broly and Trunks, which I'm actually about to show you. Pretty cool unit, pretty good. There is an animation, intro animation with the people in the background. Peton Battle is an in-game card game using chibi styles of past units that can be used for more resources. I'm showing you a little bit of my collection here. I don't really play too much of that. Moving on to World Tournament. This is something that happens every now and again, and is the most annoying part of the game. I don't know, what do I do here? Oh, I'll go back to that here in a second. So, World Tournament is an annoying part of the game. It is the most, I believe. Personally, it's the time that it takes to grind and slowly get competitive. Going in to choose a difficulty in the team. So like, to do it, you go in. It shows you a bunch of difficulties. You choose your team. I would suggest bringing units that attack everything, so all attack all units, or at least ones that attack multiple times with additionals. Next, you will face waves of NPCs of units. The first wave is the preliminary. It has 3 teams. The second and fourth is the quarterfinal, semifinal, and final. You go against one team with increasing strength. So quarterfinal will be harder than any of the teams in preliminary, while semifinal is stronger than quarterfinal, and final is stronger than semifinal. Personal rewards you can get through winning full rounds. So you have to be preliminary all the way to final, and you get rewards per win. Or pointage. So the higher the difficulty, the more points you get. The more points you get, the better the rewards. And then at the end goal is to get rewards based on a rank that they go based on your points. Currently, there's not one to kind of show you. But they give you resources, units, and tickets on banners that are used to get units from the World Tournament events, past and present, including some LRs, which, like this LR Jackie Chung, is one of the more recent ones that they give out. Moving on to Ultimate Clash. Ultimate Clash... Oh, go back a little bit. Ultimate Clash. It's a challenge mode that allows to choose up to 112 characters to make teams for 3 rounds. The first round you... Okay. So here, you'll face 2 enemies. So there's this one, and then there'll be another one. The second round is you face 3. So you'll get 2 of these 2, and then the final boss. And then the third one will be all 4 of these spots, and then the boss. Beating each enemy and rounds give you rewards. So you get points for currency for this very mode for beating each one of these guys for the first time. And then every round you get some rewards. And then you can run through it a second time to get even more rewards. I believe it's not as good as the first time around, but some extra little niceties. Moving on to events. This is kind of like your main content hub. First starts with it's similar to Dragon Ball Story and the quest mode. But some events are available for a time period. These stages can give you much needed units and resources, and kind of like the game starters. And I don't hunt. This is a unit you can get through Dragon Ball Stories. Moving on to growth, slightly harder than the story, but in some stages. And then you use these to gain strength, and there's a few units you get, including this LRB Pan. Moving on to Awakening tab. This is harder than story and growth, but these stages are needed to obtain medals that are required to Dokkan Awaken into Transcended Ultra Rares and LRs. Moving on to Z Battle. R for EZAs, also known as Extreme Z Awakenings. An extra awakening for units that have aged and need extra strength in level stats, leader skill, and passive skill. For some more recent content, normally for units to get their EZA, they need to be about 3 years old, which I'm about to show you one of the more recently aged units that got its thing, which is this Path to Power Goku here. They did recently add Super EZAs, which are recently added awakenings that go an extra step further than the normal EZAs by updating a passive skill again. These are going to be only available for Dokkan Fest or LRs. Our step to do this the moment the units. Wait, what? Oh, okay. So the only Dokkan Fest and LRs can do this. And at the moment, they kind of go over the first. They recently finished up the characters from the first year, including the 1 year anniversary Super Gogeta. Challenge mode, these are the hardest modes in the game. The newer ones are set to test the units that are for new releases and testing their abilities. Moving on to Team tab, this is your hub for a lot of things, including team making is what this first one is. The next one is selling your units and Hercule statues, which are just meant for selling, which I just did. For Zenny, growth is for leveling, awakening, and link leveling units. I'm going to show you real quick some training. So you can use characters to train both for XP and for super attack. You can also use equipment to get them stronger. And then awakening requires medals like these to move them into the next rarity, which this is going from normal to rare. Link leveling is so like I told you, links, categories, and leader skill are some of the most important things for a team building. Link leveling, it's a little wonky. So you can get these resources through mostly purchase, but these two you can get through growth event. And I think these can get you all the way till level 7 on link levels. Link levels, just as you grow, the higher the level the link is, the more stuff it provides units that each unit does. I didn't think I mentioned this, but links, when a unit is next to another unit, if they share units, they will get what that link, it has stats and stuff. So like if, let's say, a Super Saiyan Goku and a Super Saiyan Gohan are next to each other, they're going to have the Super Saiyan link. And I don't know at the top of my head, but let's just say it gives 15% strength. But if you level it up to higher levels, it can get up to 30% or even extra things than that. I'm just ripping that off because I didn't get that section properly explained. Moving on to the hidden potential. This is your skill tree for units by using potential orbs gained through growth, Z battle, and rewards. You can also buy a few of them. To complete at 100%, you need 4 copies of a unit to unlock later paths, which I'm about to show you one of the paths I unlocked for a character. Also, this path that I'm unlocking right now, you need your super attack to be a level 10 to get that entire thing available to you. Moving on to support memories. These items have conditions that once met play a scene from series that boost unit categories and other abilities like increasing drop rate. Dokkan Awakening, this shows every unit and the progress made through Awakening if you've obtained them. Items, these are just ones that you collected, your inventory, more or less. Character list, this is all your units that you've gained. I have quite a bit of them. Tapping the button to your right, right here. This is a filtering and sorting kind of operating system. You can sort by names, categories, abilities, etc. Moving on to reverse, it is a process using a hourglass metal, which you can see on this top one, to revert a unit to a previous awakening. This can be useful for activating potential. When opening paths, the unit has to be on the same stage of awakening. You can also be useful for super attacks leveling. If a used unit is on the same stage and is the same character, doesn't have to be the same unit, there's a chance for it to give it super attack. And if it's the same awakening, there's a higher percentage. Moving on to special stickers. This was one of the things you can get for doing a second time running the what is it? If you run Ultimate Clash for a second time, it gives you one of these. And it's a reward item for events to Clash, like that Ultimate Clash that gives you unit art with special effect. So like this, the Kami, it's very basic, and then you can see these effects through the spirals there. Moving on to Shenron. While playing quest mode, you can land on a Dragon Ball. By collecting all 7, you can wish for more resources. Moving on to summons. You can say this is the main part of the game. Here you can gain the units through spending Dragon Stones. Recommended is the new stuff. Like Towel right there. Dragon Stones has a Kai summoning for super attack leveling. Some banners have... Come on. In this tab, there's also banners that will pop up that are for category units. So, like, let's say there is a new Super Saiyan Goku, and he leads Super Saiyans. There will be a banner that drops units that aren't Dokkan Fest or LRs. It'll just be very basic units that are Super Saiyans that will help with building his team. And then there is tickets. Here, you can purchase a lot of these. You can also get some through summons and missions. It's basically just more banners. Friend points. Here you've earned when a friend plays with your unit, you get points. Summoning here can give you Hercule statues, Kais, and then 3 LRs, which I'm about to show you. So here's your Kais. And here is your options for an LR Sandman number 1 and 2, a LR of Future 17 and 18, and then an LR of Hercule with a Boo in it. Moving on to Shop. I accidentally hit this. Shop is for spenders to buy resources like Dragon Stones. Moving on to the Exchange Shop. Trade points. You can sell units and items you don't need for points. For some units, metals, and items you do need. So over here I'm about to show you, I chose to sell some characters of lower rarity that I don't need. I kept the Vegeta because I wanted to, if I ever come back and do something, I'd like to try to build these characters up. And then you can use the points I just sold those characters for to get items. Zenny, similar to the trade points, but using Zenny, and there's also higher value items like these training locations that are very hard to come by, so I bought them here. Moving on to Secret Treasure Chest. Almost every month this gets changed. I'm using tickets from the growth event, God Leveling Training, known as the Whis event by the community. You gain a tickets. They give you orbs to put on potential stuff for extra abilities. Moving on to treasures. There are several different items gained through events, missions, and celebrations. Giving you extra rewards just for doing stuff. But moving on to the pity coins. And I do mean quote-unquote pity. The pity coins are every time you summon using Dragon Stones, you get for every 5 Dragon Stones you spend, you get 1 of these. If you're summoning on a Dokkan Festival banner, you'll get the coin, and you can only exchange for that exact coin. You can also gain extra coins. I didn't write this down in the script, but if you rainbowed a character or 100%ed their potential, and you pull them from the summons, you can exchange that unit for an extra, I think, 3 coins. Also, if it's going to show up here, it has to be a returning character. So, for example, this Captain Ginyu didn't show up on his banner, but the next time he showed up on a banner as a side unit, he were able to use coins to get him. LRs require 100, 500 coins. Category leads, which these require 400. And then for typing, there is like, hey, this unit leads STR typing for 120%. That requires 200 coins. And then there's others that like, I think it was like 70% for all types. Those normally are so old for category for leader skills, but they only are 150 coins to get units that are that. Moving on, there are a few types of coins you can get. So if you use Dokkan Fest banner, there's the red ones. Every month normally comes with a ultra rare Dokkan Fest, and then part 2, or the second half of the month, will release an LR that isn't the greatest, but it normally helps the unit that are released as the Dokkan Fest, and these yellow coins are just for legendary summons. Moving on to Carnival summons. These are LRs that are a little bit better than the normal yellow coins. Dokkan Fest don't only come in ultra rares, they can also come in legendary rare variety. And same thing, they come in the red coin. But I'd say Carnivals are the equivalent to an LR Dokkan Fest. So Dokkan Fest, they lead multiple categories, while a Carnival will only have 1 or 2 categories that they lead at a higher percentage. And normally they're very strong, similar to Dokkan Fest. There is another blue coin similar to this that I'm about to show. This is the one you get for summoning on the Kai or category summons. And then this is a special green coin for banners that give you actual pity for new units, which require you need to have 200 of those, by the way. You need to have 200 of these coins to get the new unit, which requires you to summon 20 multi-summons. So 20 times 50, imagine that amount of Dragon Stones spent to get a brand new unit. Like right now, you can go get the new Mercenary Tau unit by doing 20 multi-summons. And you only can do that once, by the way. But anyways, that is it for this video. Hopefully this helps out people that are trying to understand the game better, or if someone's wanting to come by and try to play it, they have a better understanding of it now. I wanted to pull apart the game as best as I could, but this is the best of my ability. So anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.